A big, hearty, warm welcome. Welcome to 2022. Welcome to our planning session. It is January the 1st, and I bid you a good morning if you are in the States, and a good afternoon or evening if you are farther afield. Happy New Year. I want to start with a quote from Young Pueblo. And if you wish, you can close your eyes. It's a short quote, but it's very, very important that we really get this clear in our minds before we begin. This is a planning session. This is a session that calls on your consistency and your clarity. And I look forward to sharing this with you. There is no mystery, and I will tell you what book it's in and the page and everything in just a moment. There is no mystery to the miracle of self-healing. It is courage, commitment, and consistency that move us from misery to inner peace. Courage, commitment, and consistency. Just take a moment with yourself to sit with those three words. One without the other two, even two without the third, is not quite complete. For you to go where you are meant to be going in this year or any moment, courage, commitment, and consistency. That's it. There's no magic. Please open your eyes. And the book is inward, the page 113. It is one of my favorites. And it is what I have put into practice for the last several years in my own work, studies, parenting for sure. Courage, commitment, and consistency. Our very first page of your guidebook, and it is there for you, waiting for you in the chat there, about 7 messages up. Michelle needs access to share a screen, so I'm going to give that to her now. Make co-host. Yes, please. Michelle is now the co-host. She will be staying off screen, but there, beautiful. Michelle, thank you so much for this. For those of you that didn't get a chance to print it out, we're going to have this open for you. These pages have been carefully selected for this year. Last year, I selected a whole slew of other pages, and I thought, oh, how am I going to find other pages for this year? No, these pages are for this year. So let's go to page 1 on our guidebook. This is my body, and these are my boundaries. This is so important for us. Let's go off of the actual physical body for a moment and start with the body of your work, the body of your household, the body of your being. This is my body, and these are my boundaries. The friends who have been the most clear-headed, clear-hearted, and dare I use this word, successful, which in the sort of more general known sense of the word, have extremely clear boundaries. And I want to start like this, not with who you're, leaving out of your life this year. You already know who that is. That's good. That's fine. I want to make a list of priorities. The priorities become the boundaries for your year. And this is the best. It's not going to make sense right away. I would like you to list on this page or in your notes 3 to 5 priorities for this year. And it can be project-oriented, preferably, rather than task-oriented. I prefer, and I've learned this with Seth Godin, project versus task. Project is a lot more sexy and fun. This is the project I want to do. It's a poetry book. It's going to be looking like this. I think I'm going to self-publish it. That's one of my priorities. That belongs in my boundaries. Because when a little free time comes, I might be reading someone else's poetry. I might be studying the cadence of someone I love who writes poetry. But the boundary comes because that is a priority to me. And so during that free time, during that window, I'm going to do something that relates to that priority. And I would like for you to have a list of 3 to 5 priorities for yourself. I'm going to give you a moment to note those. And I'm also going to be keeping an eye on the chat. So if you're interested in sharing your priorities with the crew, you may click on that blue box in your chat stream and click on everyone. And then we can all see it. If you'd rather just me see it, please note, do not share. And I'm happy to see it and acknowledge your name, but I won't say it out loud. Oh, Michelle, thank you for noting the book, Young Pueblo's book. At the bottom of this page, it says, I am here to honor and amplify actions that are self-respecting. This is important too, because if you have a list of priorities, 3 different projects that you're working on, whatever it is, mentorship, business, ameliorating your relation with your sister or your brother, whomever, that's your priority. That's a boundary. That's going to drive the way you respect yourself as you use your time. I look at this all the time within myself. What am I actually doing right now with this moment of time that I have? Does it relate to those few priorities? And so this page we can look at in many different ways, obviously. But it's less for me right now for 2022. It's less about who I'm blocking out, and it's more about exactly what I am doing with my time. Self-love, creating, receiving. Build your mom burnout recovery program. Very nice, Jennifer, that you've put on hold throughout the pandemic as you kept your family afloat. Good. You're not a hypocrite. We know that. Well done. Judith, deepening and achieving consistency in meditation, finding a sustainable way forward in your marriage, rest, beautiful. Mira, yoga, oils, courses, workshops, yes. Lexi, improving your health, mainly through weight loss and diet, improving your relationship. So these are your priorities. I would like, and I appreciate that you're sharing them openly, I would like now for you to take each one of those priorities, this is granular, and write down 3 actions you can take right now, this coming month, toward each of those priorities. Okay, so health, family, community, Danny says, great. What are 3 concrete actions you can take toward health? What are 3 concrete actions you can take toward family? Whatever the intention is, community. Finish that book, Diane. I'm right here. I'm rooting for you, sister. Lisa, honoring and nurturing yourself. Very good. Oh, I see. That's the word that you meant to write. Understanding more deeply what you want and need. Building your health and business. Health and life coaching business, completing your certification, financial health. Good. Financial health is a huge one for most of us right now. So what is one concrete action you can take? I actually know of a few. You can set up a new account. I'll just give you some examples. Set up a new account where you put everything for your taxes in there, so there's no surprises. Actually, you can go straight to 111.co. She's great. She has a whole team of people who are addressing individuals who wish to improve their financial health. And she's a great gal. I just had her on my podcast, Danny Pasquarella, 111.co. There's the link from Michelle. Sahara, yoga, asana, mentorship, cooking. Yes. So what are the 3 things beneath those things? What are the 3 actions? It's important to start out this way. I know it's not the sexiest, most fun, but those 3 little actions, those are going to guide you. Those are going to be your boundaries as we go forward into the year. And when you check in June with that list, you'll see that it really helped. It's so sweet to set yourself up this way. Weekly date nights. Yes. That's the best. We have those too. Even if we just sit at the dining room table, we have weekly date nights. They're the best. Okay. One thing I would love for you to also add as you're going through those three very specific actions under your priorities, your boundaries, I would love for you to add what self-respect looks like for you right now. This is all about self-respect. My word for 2022 is art. That is about respecting myself. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So what does self-respect look like for you? I, of course, have Joan's book, Slouching Toward Bethlehem. And of course, page 142 is on self-respect. This is an essay that she wrote for Vogue when she was hired by Vogue after winning a competition out of high school. Unbelievable. On self-respect. I want to read only just this one section, and I have to give it some context. What she references is being driven back upon oneself is the process of realizing that it's not about everything that's out there. It really has to be about what's happening in here. The one condition, she says, necessary to the beginnings of self-respect is this process of being driven back upon oneself. It was the day that she realized that she didn't get accepted into Phi Beta Kappa. I'm just going to read you this sentence because it's so delicious and full. I marvel that a mind on the outs with itself should have nonetheless made painstaking record of every tremor. I recall with embarrassing clarity the flavor of those particular ashes. It was a matter of misplaced self-respect. I had not been elected to Phi Beta Kappa. This failure could scarcely have been more predictable or less ambiguous. I simply did not have the grades. But I was unnerved by it. I had somehow thought myself a kind of academic Raskolnikov, curiously exempt from the cause-effect relationships which hampered others. Although even the humorless 19-year-old that I was must have recognized that the situation lacked real tragic stature, the day that I did not make Phi Beta Kappa nonetheless marked the end of something, and innocence may well be the word for it. I lost the conviction that lights would always turn green for me, the pleasant certainty that those rather passive virtues which had won me approval as a child automatically guaranteed me not only Phi Beta Kappa keys, but happiness, honor, the love of a good man. Lost a certain touching faith in the totem power of good manners, clean hair, proven competence. This is the moment when she realized that the things that she thought would hold her up would not hold her up anymore, and her mind turned inward on itself. This misplaced self-respect, she was building her blocks of self-respect on precisely the wrong measures. What does self-respect look like for you right now? To me, I have to feel the deepest peace within myself, and to build that little moment at a time. That's what self-respect looks like. And I would like for you to now make a list of the small actions you take toward building self-respect. The article was in Vogue many, many decades ago. The book in which the essay appears is called Slouching Toward Bethlehem by Joan Didion. Self-respect, being driven by my truth. Very good. So what are the small actions? What actions are self-respecting for me? Reading is self-respecting. Painting is self-respecting. Teaching is self-respecting. Cooking. What are the actions that are self-respecting? Resting, exactly. Daniela, very good. These are things that we think, oh yeah, well, I know that. I don't have to write it down. Actually, you do. Actually, I do. I do. Practicing the piano, self-respecting, booking time for ourselves, exactly as me, prioritizing joy. These are self-respecting actions. So now you have page 1, boundaries. You have your priorities. You have a few actions you can take toward each one. And you have a list of the actions you can take that are self-respecting in case you forget what it is that you need to be doing with that time that you do have. Okay. Let's go to the next page. What value do I see in myself? It's a perfect little path from self-respect. What value do I see in myself? I have value. Hand on your heart. If you can't feel this right now, put your hand on your heart. Where did you bring value last year? Make a note about that for a moment. I definitely brought value to the work that I did, the people that I touched. I brought value to this kid who was growing up so beautifully. I brought value to my man, to his family. The question is not, I don't want you to write forever about what happened in 2021. You can give yourself a few examples so that it lights the way toward where you would like to bring value in 2022. So if those examples are true, I think that I can bring similar value with less effort to more humans and work toward that. That's an exciting prospect. It's a scary prospect, but it's exciting. Yeah, good for you, Karen. Leaving a marriage that wasn't fulfilling or loving, with no spike in my chemistry when I say that. That's something I did, like I went and cooked a great dinner. That's an important, self-respecting, valuable addition. Okay. We go to what I would like for you to note now are 3 attributes that you've really come to admire within yourself. You don't have to share them on the Zoom chat if you're not willing. But 3 attributes that you admire within yourself, that's a sweet, sweet exploration. The 3 attributes that I read to you from Diego: courage, commitment, and consistency. I think of those when I think about what I admire within myself. I've really put my attention there this year. Consistency, especially. Studentship is something I admire within myself. Yeah, so this is, Ella, great question you put in the chat. Can you speak to personal value that isn't about societal approval? That's exactly where we are now. What do you admire within yourself? The way that you are showing up for your kid, for your folks, your family. Okay, curiosity, optimism, tenacity, beautiful. Alicia, my ability to trust myself, my intuition. Yes, that is a big one. If if you're watching right now and you don't have a connection to your intuition and you don't really trust, the first thought that you have, that's not something that you trust yet, make this year about that. That's a very worthwhile endeavor, and it requires, exactly, very good, Mark. It requires courage, commitment, and consistency to trust your intuition. I dare say that Alicia has probably examined that fully and cultivated that within her own work. Lori, great willingness, humor, drive. Lisa, consistency, drive, compassion. These are things that you value about yourself. Patience, self-care, daily practice. Nurture, loving, great listener, creating magical moments, ability to say no, most tenacious student, allowing my grief to flow after the recent death of my mother. Good, that you can value about yourself. Self-responsibility, yes. connection with community. Yes. Constant learner, Janet. Yes. Positivity, studentship, intentionality. Yes. We go to the bottom of the page and we look at self-esteem. Self-esteem, confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect. When you know your worth, not that this is important, but it's a fact. When you know your worth, the world will feel it too. I have seen this in practice time and time again, not just in myself, but I have seen it here. Within many of you who are on this session, I have seen you come into a connection, a deep, abiding connection with your own worth, your own value, intrinsic value, not about what you give or do out there, but your own value for yourself. I have seen you connect to that. And in that contact, begin creating value for other people in profound ways. I've seen it happen. Anya, you're a great example. I've seen it happen so many times here amongst you. Pardon. Elizabeth, master nurturer as a stepmother. Well done. I manage my thoughts and feelings using my breathing. Third line there under self-esteem. No better way. That's, for me, the meditation practice is all about the management of my interior zones. I'm getting better all the time. I am still far from perfect. And finally, I accept responsibility for my experiences by considering how I am seeing. Okay? Especially in this culture, this context, in this moment in time, to manage how you're seeing and really notice if you're in another moment where you need to be right, or if you are simply in a process of seeing. You will save a lot of energy this year if you can make that distinction. Do I need to be right, or can I just be present for this? Hand on heart, very helpful. Especially when inside you really want to be right and seen and heard, but you're not going to get that satisfaction. So hand on heart, I'm here to be witnessing this and to be presencing this. Finally, on this page in the little purple square there, I keep my word to myself and others. That's everything. Carla, hi, honey. And beautiful, Elizabeth, yes. I keep my word to myself and others by meaning what I say and saying what I freaking mean. Gosh, the number of times I have noticed myself this year saying things that did not need to be said. The shift out of saying things that don't need to be said into saying only what I mean is not just a time saver, although that is a wonderful practice for saving time. It is energy saver. Just say what you mean and no more. Yes, and Diego says that all the time, Julie. He doesn't meditate to be successful. He meditates to free himself from craving. That's exactly right. And the craving is, I wish I could put that quote in the chat, Ella. I don't remember what I said, but there'll be the replay. The craving is anything, including needing to be right, including needing to be heard. And when I thought about doing this, I went back and forth several times. I've been doing it for many, many years. It's not about me in the end. I don't need to be heard. What I need is to watch each of you find your way. That is what brings me deep satisfaction. It brings me encouragement to see you find your way. I'm not even here. This is about you finding your reasons and voices within yourself. The principle of least action, exactly. Takesha's here. Nice. Saying less is such a practice. Yes. Let's go on. Okay. Yes. Learning to love my struggles is my practice. You know, I almost didn't put this page in the book. But this is something I have learned deeply from Diego and so many other teachers with whom I have touched in the last year. How am I relating to what is difficult? Learning to, within myself, relate to what is difficult. Maybe there are tears. Maybe there's a hand on my heart again for the 80th time today. Maybe there's a calling out to my mom, which happens often, especially when it's snowing. Snow is her favorite, and it's dumping snow right now, and I feel her around. How am I relating to what is difficult? How am I relating to the presence of struggle in my life, to the presence of turbulence in my life, to the presence of change in my life? I want to leave a few moments here for you to mess around with that a little bit. I want this to be a conscious pursuit in 2022 for all of us. How do I relate to turbulence? Now, I'm not one to prescribe things, but meditation is really good for that. Like, if you can get a regular practice going, even if it's 5 minutes in the middle of lunchtime, I don't care. Meditation is exactly as Diego said, that Julie pointed out just previously. It is exactly the medicine for learning to relate to change and turbulence and struggle with more ease. Yes, Brooke. Yes, Blanca. Exactly. Exactly. That's his practice too, Vipassana. Sahar, you know, Sahar, when it comes to losing your mom, I'm not asking you to love her absence. This is a story we're going to flip right around now. This is a prescription from my own experience. Don't love her absence. No, love her presence. Now that she is gone in the physical form, she is everywhere in other ways. Love that part. Equanimity always. Yes, exactly. Diego is, I'm so sorry, young Pueblo. He's a very, very good friend of mine for many years. We have been mutually supportive of one another since the very beginning. You know, gosh, it's been many years now. Okay. Angie, there's a link to his website. I would recommend subscribing to his Substack. It's wonderful. Exactly, Blanca. Yes, and a great person to follow on IG. Ella, thank you. Okay. Last moment on struggles, learning to love the struggles. You know, it's what, let's put it like this. When you meet somebody who has been through a great deal, they're not complaining about what they've been through, but in fact, they are more beautiful and more layered in their being and in their communications with you. That person has learned to love their struggles. That's what I mean by this. I want to make sure that that's super, super clear. Yeah. Yes. The sooner I can release my fearful grip as change and struggle arise, the sooner it is able to wash through and shift. Very good, Kate. Feel the inside, but it still ain't fun. That's what's up. That's what's true. Totally. Grace, how do I feel the full spectrum of feelings without falling apart? That's where loving the struggle comes in, because you've created a container within yourself. It's almost like you're growing your heart, like in your shirt. I don't know how to explain it. You make the container so big that the very hardest feelings, they no longer take up all the space in the tiny container. The container is so big that the hardest feelings become just a little dot in the bucket. I hope that makes sense. I think Jonah is on his way in, so he may be coming in here. Hi.
Can I please go?
You may go. Just drive slowly.
Just look at it.
It's amazing. Just drive slowly. That's a very tall man, and I am going to practice what I'm preaching right now and release him in driving in very serious conditions right now. It goes against everything I know to be true, but I'm going to do it. It's going to be okay. He's a whole man, 6'1". Let's move on, shall we? Okay. This page has been looked at so many times that it's literally coming out of the book.
Look at the ledge. There's like
I know, there's like 6 inches on the ledge, babe. I know. Listen, can I just have your eyeballs for 1 second so I can be comfortable and go on with my day? Just eyeballs, 2 seconds. Give me eyeballs.
Oh, wow. It's even like outside.
Please, please, please drive so slowly that it hurts. And know that every second you're doing something fantastic for your mom. I love you too. It's like this deep out there. I don't even know if he's going to get out of the driveway. Nikki, did you hear that voice? I know he's got this. He's got to do it. Slowly, it hurts. Nikki has been with Jonah since he was like, I don't know, 3, 4, something crazy, 5. Many of you know Nikki from December mentorship. What a blessing that was. Know and honor which actions are self-respecting and which are not. I am revisiting this from one of our first pages in this session because it's that important to me. And I want to read a little more of Miss Didion. And I'm going to go over this too in mentorship in January. Self-respect is something that our grandparents, now we're talking about people who were raised in the late 1800s now. So keep this in mind as she's writing. Self-respect is something that our grandparents, whether or not they had it, knew all about. They had instilled in them young a certain discipline, a sense that one lives by doing things one does not particularly want to do, by putting fears and doubts to one side, by weighing immediate comforts against the possibility of larger, even intangible comforts. It seemed to the 19th century admirable, but not remarkable, that Chinese Gordon put on a clean white suit and held Khartoum against the Mahdi. She's referencing things that like are so elegant, so old. It does not seem unjust that the way to free land in California involved death and difficulty and dirt. In a diary kept during the winter of 1846, an emigrating 12-year-old named Narcissa Cornwall noted coolly, "Father was busy reading and did not notice that the house was being filled with strangers until mother spoke about it." She's referencing Native Americans. There are perils and virtues to this, and I want to address this right now because I think it's important and it's been part of my life for a long time. We have to know with whom to talk about things that matter and with whom we cannot talk. That is the point of me reading that passage. People of that era, they knew where they could speak and where they couldn't, for better or for worse. I'm not saying what's right or wrong here, but I'm saying for us, for right now, we need to know that with that person, I can't actually talk about those things. And I won't even bother. And I'm saving myself and my precious life force by not addressing them. And with this other person, I totally can. And so I'll put my energy there. I hope that makes sense. That book is still slouching towards Bethlehem. I mean, some of the best essays we've ever seen, easily inform so much of what I do, her writing. Okay, let's make a list. Back to the pen and paper. What actions are self-respecting and what actions are not? Okay, so I made my list as by way of example for you. Walking away from fraught relations is self-respecting, at least right now. I'm going to pull my energy back, pull my life force back, and I'm not even going to try right now because it's not my place to change that person's mind. So walking away from overly fraught relations is a self-respecting action that I can take, and I will practice this year. 2, cultivating common ground. Let's go to the other side of the coin. What if the relation is not super overly fraught and you can actually have a hope of cultivating common ground? And this is something I can't tell you. You have to practice your intuitive knowing and understand when and how. Cultivating common ground might be a good idea. Sometimes I have found that cultivating common ground only comes when I listen extremely well, so well that it hurts. Give back what the person has just said to me in order to cultivate common ground. Cooking nourishing food is a self-respecting action on my list. Apologizing is a very self-respecting action, and I do it often. Looking turbulence in the eye, like I think I just did, is a self-respecting action. I really, really didn't want him to drive up the hill today to go skiing. I really, truly did not. But I know it's the right thing. It brings him joy. I'm looking turbulence in the eye, and I'm trusting that God has that child. And that's how it is. I'm also going to wrap, if you wouldn't mind, wrap the car in a beautiful golden egg of safety. The more of us do it, the merrier. Let's go over which actions are not self-respecting, shall we? Losing sleep. Bailing on physical activity. Not eating or eating too much. Those are not self-respecting actions. Those are high on my list. So make your list. So you have a little reference point. You can make it into a little sign near your desk or near your fridge. What actions are self-respecting for you and which are not? Thank you, Jen, for the golden egg. Thank you, Mark. Very good. Let's keep going, shall we? Now, all of these lists, by the way, are meant to be evolving. So even if you've just turned the page and now we're going on to the next page, keep going back to this. I go back to my lists all the time. It's really helpful. Quarterly, if you have a little desire to do a quarterly check-in with yourself, you can look at January 1st and then again on February, March, April 1st, and then again 3 months later, so on and so forth, okay? July 1st, September 1st, October 1st, excuse me. So let's go to harmony. This is an important cultivation. My teacher of meditation, Roshi Joan Halifax, in a year-long training that I've just completed, said, let go of the idea that things are small and contracted. Show up. Can't remember the context, but I instantly came scrambling to get my book because this is where I've kept everything for the year. I'm going to use it for 2 years running. Let go of the idea that things are small and contracted and show up. And I can't still to this day understand why or how I put it on the harmony page, but there it is. Let go of the idea that things are small and contracted. Show up. Oh, what does that mean for you? And you may want to take a few extra pages or even make columns. What does that mean for you in that situation? What does it mean for you in that situation? What about that situation?
Mom,
Yes, sir.
can you just go check this out for a second?
I'm really in the middle of working with about 200 people. I'm so sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all good. We love you. We're wrapping you in golden light as you drive.
Well,
Are you
I
able
think
to
I
pull?
can track that.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I'm so sorry. You can get one of the shovels. Ask James where the shovels are. They're in the work shed. And you can dig yourself out, but I don't know if you're going to be able to dig out all the way down. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. I wrote myself a note here that harmony might mean. It's almost like what I was just describing, the growing of your heart space, so that you're standing in a meadow, a very vast meadow, rather than a very small, fist-sized bowl, which helps you to show up in different ways in all those different situations that you might have just distinguished. This is also Diego. I just happened to have listened to a podcast that he did recently. The higher level work is not just being gentle as you move through the day. It is figuring out if you can bring harmony to situations. This is a really good point. I wish I could read the chat. I'm seeing a lot of comments go through, but I want to stay with you for a moment. Being gentle versus figuring out if you can bring a quality of harmony. So define harmony for yourself. What does that mean to you right now? For me, it means letting go of the idea that things are small and contracted and showing up. Might mean different things to you. Might mean that you're kind of helping two people that you love and know to find some common ground. I'm sure that's true for one of you right now. Figuring out if you can bring harmony to situations. He goes on to say that being gentle does not equal not causing harm. Adding harmony is skillfully maneuvering your piece so that others can share in it. So hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. Skillfully maneuvering your own piece so that others can share in it. Good God. That's what you get for meditating for 2 hours in the morning every day. You get that kind of commentary. That's what he does. 2 hours in the morning. I'm up to a half an hour, which goes well. It bodes well for my writing. I find that my writing is getting better when I sit for longer. I have no idea. I'm going to read that to you one more time about harmony, and then we'll move on, okay? Again, this recording will be sent to you. Don't worry. The higher level work is not just being gentle as you move through the day. It is figuring out if you can bring harmony to situations. Adding harmony is skillfully maneuvering your own piece so that others can share in it. It's not like you have to manufacture something else. Please get that clear. Skillfully maneuvering my own piece so that others can share in it. Oh, thank you, Al, for typing that in. This is not from inward. The harmony reading is from a podcast. You got to listen, I forget the name of the interviewer. It was a religious podcast. It was in his most recent email that he sent out. All right, let's roll. Yes, and Hillary makes a great point before we go. I find this challenging. She naturally focuses so much on harmony at the expense of her own energy, and that is precisely what Diego is trying to help us see. It is not about spending from my own reserves. It is about maneuvering my own inner peace. Perhaps if you're a visual person and you like what, and it's resonating what I've just said to you, just weigh this page down. Perhaps it is growing yourself in some way so that you can maneuver your own inner peace in here so that others can share in it. But it's not taking from you to pay the piper. It's not that. That's an important distinction for so many of us. So Mara, Diego goes by the name Young Pueblo. I quote him forever. Look at how beat up this book is. It's falling apart. Every page dog-eared. Really good podcast to listen to is the interview that I did with him. There are two in Practice You, but the most recent one is on this book, and it was really a joy. No, sorry, the first one was on Inward. The second one was on his more recent book, which is called Clarity and Connection. Just get them both. Do yourself a favor. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful, Corey. Get this. Consider harmony as the interaction of any two individual notes in some form of individual attunement to create a new arranged attunement through the interaction. Wholes greater than the sum of its parts when it comes to harmony. Well done. Corey, we'll see you in mentorship, brother. Okay. Next page. And I think this is really fitting. Last year, we did the facing page to this page. Words to guide a challenging conversation. May I have your permission to say something I'm afraid to say? Do you feel the opening that creates? There are like 3 different permissions in there, within oneself and within the interaction and within the whole space of the world. May I have your permission to say something I'm afraid to say? The second set of words to guide a challenging conversation, I am listening. I don't know if this kid's going to make it out, but to see his face when he was begging me to let him go. If I wasn't listening, I would have been like, no, sir. Whatever the risk is that I'm putting him or myself under, I'm listening. The third, thank you for telling me. James does this all the time. He's in a men's group, and it is like such a gift for our communication, because there are times when I'll say something that I think he's going to get mad at. I don't know. Any number of things, when you stand next to somebody and brush your teeth with them every night for 8 years, things come up. And he's in a practice of just saying, thank you for telling me that. Such a healer, just to hear those words and to say them. I can see the healing for him when he says them. It's like, it just takes the charge out of everything for everyone. Can you say more about that? It's so good. I can't tell you how many times I've used that probably since Jonah was about 5 to now, so 10 years rather. I've gotten so much more information that way. Coming to understand things I never would have understood, or receiving the full picture of things I never would have seen. Can you say more about that? It's such a good practice. This is your practical page. And in these little boxes, I would love for you to put the names of maybe a couple of people, 1 or 2 people to whom you could say these things. And Mark, don't get me wrong, none of this is based on fear. This is about respect. Every line, may I have your permission to say something I'm afraid to say? I am respecting myself by saying that, and I am respecting the other by asking. I am listening. That is about a deep level of respect. Thank you for telling me. Also, deep respect. I see what you mean. Mark, thank you for clarifying. Yes, respecting yourself is your work for 2022 then. And I'm with you on it 100%. Can you say more about that? Also about respect. Like, I'm not going to say, what the fuck are you talking about? What? I'm going to say, can you say more about that? I'm so interested. Okay. Keep that list running of the people to whom you can use these lines with. These are absolute world healers. Every single one of these lines. I can take no credit for any of them. I've learned them all from other people. Every single one has healed my life in some deep way. Let's go. Oh, this is a fun one. This is my vision. Oh, Martha, thank you, honey. Thank you for being here. Enjoy. And hand on heart, totally, Georgia. This is my vision. So I have a reading for you. Yes. Okay, great. Page 105. I have all my books next to me. Some of you have seen this little setup. In this book, it's not even available. I don't know. I paid too much to get it. It's super used. But page 105 in this book. It's deep. It's thick like Joan, but let's go. Meditating in this way, the individual is dealing effectively with obscuring emotionality and discursive thought by recognizing their truer nature. Simply recognizing mind's nature as emptiness, clarity, and unimpededness, stay with me, can completely and instantaneously destroy emotional distraction. Translated, remember, your mind is an empty space. It's not as full as it would seem some days. And by remembering this emptiness, this clarity, this unimpededness, you're having an instantaneous recognition that, as Rinpoche says, completely crushes one's emotional and mental imbalances. Let's get a little more clear on this emptiness business. How then? Now I'm in the Zen teaching of Huang Po. You don't need to get any of these books. Just listen to this. How then does a man accomplish this comprehension of his own mind? That which asked the question is your own mind. But if you were to remain quiescent and refrain from the smallest mental activity, its substance would be seen as a void. You would find it formless, occupying no point in space, falling neither into the category of existence nor that of non-existence. So by way of example, Rinpoche actually offers this in his book. Think of New York City. Go. Where are you standing? For some reason right now I'm on 40th and 5th. I don't know why, by Bryant Park. Okay. Think of your favorite beach. Go. Gouverneurs, St. Bart's. It's not even my favorite, but there I am. Whatever you pictured points to the fact that your mind is so empty that you can just conjure the image of a place without having to travel 3,000 miles, without having to get on a plane, go on a car, take a walk. You can be there in your mind because your mind is empty. Your mind is able to conjure that because it is empty by its very nature. Southampton. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm praying that makes sense. So, because your mind is empty, you can create any vision you like, anything at all. This is my vision. I would like for you to take a minute or two to come up with what your vision is for this year. And it can be related to a specific person, a specific place, a specific effort that you want to make. It can be any of those things, but I wanted to have some flavor and depth and specificity, detail to it. Because you will look back at this in 6 months and you will have some resonance. It will bring familiarity to you, and you will remember this moment and you'll say, wow, I actually wrote that into existence. Okay. Ella, how can I keep visioning light and not another to-do? So I want you to, it's a big to-do. It's basically a sort of a project vision, and not necessarily a specific project, although it could be. But I want you to see what the feeling of that feels like, what the smell of the air there feels like, smells like, what you're seeing in front of you when you see this particular vision realized. For me, it is a project. And I don't see it as a to-do because there are a zillion to-dos involved in that project, but I'm seeing it as the process is in motion. And this is what it feels like. I hope that makes sense. Oh, that's sweet. Sahar. Title of the last book. One is Zen and one is Tibetan Buddhism. Zen Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, they're there. Neither of these are on my book list at the moment. I think maybe Gently Whispered might be. This one just came in and it's, phew. Okay. I am a book freak. I'm going to give you another minute to write on this before we move on. Don't know what time it is, which is very fun for me. Elizabeth, if you're scared to write, that's the moment to write, sister. The book list, I'll type it in right now. I have a book list on bookshop.org, and I keep it there because every single purchase that you make on this book list goes to charity. Boom. Okay, I'll make sure these other two get onto that list as soon as possible. The title of the front book is The Zen Teaching of Huang Po, one of the most important teachers of that time. It's if you're vibing with Zen, this is a great book to have around. Okay. I'll leave another 30 seconds for you here. Oh, wonderful, Janine. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. We only have 2 more pages, I believe. Let me see. Let's move on. This is perfect. I love it when my past self takes care of my future self. These are my thoughts of compassion for myself. I gave you some little boxes because I love color chips. And I left a few blank. But there is, if you had to pick one page from this entire enterprise, this would be it. Like if you can only print one page in color, do this one. Promise. Oh, Jessie, thank you. I have the most fun. Let's think of some thoughts of compassion for ourselves. You're doing your best. Trust. I love you. As uncomfortable as that sometimes is. The Ho'oponopono prayer. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Those are all thoughts of compassion for myself. I am enough. I'm learning. I choose to love and accept myself as I am. Thank you, Anya. I am the medicine. Beautiful. You're doing great. Jen. Okay. Keep this as a running list as well, please. I'll give you about 10 more seconds to just play on this page. And I see, Shannon, you're raising your hand. I'm going to give you like one more page, which is actually blank, but I have a thought for it. And then I'll go ahead and take some questions and tell you a little bit about what's coming next. The last page is a blank one. And I painted this frame in one try, which was very fun for me. And, oh, that was an accidental. Okay, good, Shannon. The I love you juicy one. Yes, I am on the right path. I am love. I am at home in my body. Yes, yes, good girl. Totally, totally. The very last page is really a blank slate for you. And I included a short piece that I wrote very, very recently, because I think we need this right now. This will be going into the book of poetry that I create over the next year. There, stepping out of violence, a continuum, listening, energy of resilience, home frequency. All of us are being asked to step out of violence toward ourselves in our thoughts, toward others in our thoughts. Step out of violence. Come back home. Ultimately, this is our only mission right now. Every other page is just a reflection and an illustration of this mission. Come home to yourself. Step out of the violence of your mind. Let your breath sweep your mind clean every single inhalation. Take every one of these pages as a practice of this. That feels good. I'm pretty sure we're at an hour, so I want to say a couple of things. One, a number of you here have been with me for the last year in mentorship, and I want to thank you from my heart for your presence for the last year. A number of you here are new to me, and I want to say welcome to you. I take my teaching very seriously, as you can see, and my studentship very seriously. This coming year, until the 10th, we have 9 more days. The doors are open for mentorship in 2022. I've changed it this year. So no longer is it a monthly endeavor. Come in for a month, leave for a month. It's for a year. And it is one of the most nourishing spaces I have ever created outside of my kid. I don't say that lightly. I take it seriously. We gather live once a month. We now have a community forum where we can communicate together and get to know one another. As you can see, it's a very engaged crew of seekers, leaders, householders, homemakers, professionals, serious artists, all kinds of creatives. And this is my way of feeling and creating a space where all of us can feel that we belong. And so I hope to see some of you there, and I want to give you my email in case you want to ask questions about it, because you might have questions. First, I'm going to type into the chat the page to look at while we're chatting. And then I'm going to leave you with my email as my personal email. Nobody else answers this email. The only other person with whom I work closely is Michelle Martello, and she has designed every website for me for 11 years, maybe even more. Michelle will also often be seen on the mentorship as well. She's the freaking brains of the whole thing, and you'll love her. But ask me anything. I will answer my email myself, and I look forward to interacting with you. Thank you for this. Nikki, love you. Robin, thank you. Susanna, thank you. Debbie, thank you. Svetlana, thank you. Takesha, love you. Natalia, Dawn, Joanna. Thank you so much, Janice. Oh, Janice, what a testimonial. Janice, I need to read that out loud. And this is what I want all of you to do. Okay, get ready. I want you to celebrate yourself a little bit more this year. I'm going to celebrate myself right now, myself and Michelle. Janice wrote, I am a trained teacher professionally, and Elena's leadership and mentorship is a blessing. She is a class act that has an incredible professional manner in her leadership. Mentorship is a gift to yourself. I'm just drinking that in. I want all of us to do more of this year, so I'm trying to do it myself. Drink it in. You made an effort. You celebrate that effort. You celebrate how that effort landed with somebody else. Janice, thank you. I just want to bat my eyelashes at you right now. Okay, I'm going through the chat, making sure I haven't missed anything. Emma's pointing to Michelle. I've learned so much from Michelle's contributions. Yes. Not enough yeses, not enough S's. Finished a course in a week that I have had for a year. As Michelle said, just do 1 hour a day. Beautiful. Cecile, thank you. Jarellis, thank you. Lisa, thank you. Seema, Emily, gosh. Karen, thank you so much. The mentorship has held me this year, and I'm so looking forward to 2022. Oh, Allison Wapner, yes, is here. Dude, I just found some pictures that I actually have to send to you. Do me a favor and send me an email, because I'll just text them over to you. Longtime camp friend. We've known each other since we were 10. That makes us friends for 41 years. Thank you very much. Allie Wapner, I can't even. Thank you, Allie Certain. Your package is on the way, by the way, my dear. Mark, thank you for being here. Appreciate your presence. Wallace, Lisa, oh my God, there's so many beautiful messages here. Love you, Lainey. Allie, love you too. Yes, oh, Janice wants also to lift up Michelle. You ready for it, Michelle? I have learned not to major in what I am not skilled in. Oh, I'm going to say that again. I have learned not to major in what I am not skilled in. Most of us need a Michelle Martello to bring our thoughts and work to life, and that is also true. I could never have done anything that I've done without her. Thank you, Janice. Oh, beautiful. Ella did a glow class yesterday. Thank you so much. My New Year's Eve class, that was so much fun. Thank you, Elizabeth. I'll take that. Thank you, Danny. RMS. All of you, thank you. Thank you so much. What a pleasure. It's been a real pleasure to put this together over the last several weeks for you through this. Don't forget the violence. Step out of the violence. Come home to yourself. Ask me anything on email. If there are any questions, I'm right here. Can I see any questions? Any raised hands? Nothing at all. No Q&A. Ella, I do not take that lightly, what you've just said there. That brings a tear to my eye. I have another book to recommend. I've just put it on for in my book list, I think for 2021, that I've been reading every morning. It's Audre Lorde. And it's a book of her essays. And it's one of the most important books I've ever read in my life. And I read one essay per day. I would strongly recommend that every single one of us pick that book up. I'm going to quickly look and see. Yes, I will add the book list link now. I also want to just give a shout out to Corey Hunter, who is our sort of mentorship guide genius, who does a lot of help with content and organization. So Corey, thank you for that. I'm going to quickly go into the bookshop and just tell you where the Audre Lorde is. Oh yeah, it's in Poetry and Prayer, Sister Outsider. It's really not poetry though. It belongs also in 2021 favorites, if I'm honest. Also All About Love by Bell Hooks, rest in peace. First of the year diffuser blend, I just did it. You won't even believe it. It's a little bit decadent, but whatever. A lot decadent. But I needed both this morning. Good, Sandy. Violence against yourself was the aha. Being silent for the sake of harmony for so long. Realizing how much pain you put on yourself with that habit. Very good. Rose and Melissa, sorry. I forgot, I'm not fully screened. Let me go back to being full screen, shall I? There we go. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, Rose and Melissa. Wow. It's a big one. Let's see. Incredible book. I wish I could talk to Audre Lorde. Rest in peace. Thank you so much. We have spruce. Eartha, bringing in the spruce. You could actually do either one of these with black spruce, Rose or Melissa with black spruce. I put black spruce on my head this morning, freshly shorn. Patchouli with black spruce is super nice. Yes. Grace, feeling lazy, facing your projects and goals. Lazy is not an option. Lazy is, I often compare things that aren't options to cheesecake. If a cheesecake magically appears on the table in front of me, it is not something I will eat. I will be so nauseous for 2 days if I eat cheesecake. So it's not an option. Laziness is not an option. If you follow, go back to the replay and follow from the very beginning. I gave exceedingly granular instruction as to what your priorities are, seeing them as boundaries on your time. Then going in and putting actions underneath each one of those priorities. Laziness isn't an option when you have just one little action that you can take toward that goal. Complete one more poem. Great. Paint one more picture. Awesome. Send it in. Cool. Whatever it is. Oh, thank you for that book. Corey or Michelle, can you grab that? Pleasure Activism, The Politics of Feeling Good. I'll order it today. That's great. Laziness is a form of self-denial. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. Laziness is a form of self-denial. This is from Alicia Mathlin, the meditation pusher on Instagram. Go now. Meditation pusher. You want to be following. Rebecca, what if you're unclear whether a certain person is someone to step away from or someone with whom to find common ground? Ask them. Hi, I love you. Should we work on finding common ground, or should we just take a step back and agree not to talk about this? What you got? I'm still on, but it's all good. You able to go or no? Yes, good.
First James.
I don't know, actually. I think he's in the bedroom. Don't see him?
Wait, is this the first time I should?
Yeah. The car is stuck. Where?
We're dangling.
Okay, good. Awesome. I love you.
Come back Tuesday.
Okay, I'm almost done. The car is stuck. God is good. Michelle, thank you for listening. The communication channel Discord group is no longer on, Lisa, because we are moving to Circle, and that will be open for you. You'll get an email about it. That'll be open for you in the next 2 days, I believe. Yeah. Michelle's just put in the list of all of the themes for each of the months of 2022. Talk about a boundary. That one felt really good to just create. Yeah, that's a great example of creating the boundaries, the priorities for myself, is designing each quarter and subsequently each month. Michelle, you are awesome. Okay, RMS. Hi. Almost can't believe that I can place read more, that is to say daily, on my priorities. Oh, I see. To place the action of reading more. In divine and toggling with survival mode, dad on ill health, 24/7 job, organizing his care. So what I do, I wish I would have said this earlier, but I'll say it now, and whomever is still on will get this. One of the most important things that I do is actually keeping that priority list near my desk. I don't do everything at once. I will write one poem every 2 days and then close the document. I will create one piece of art every week and then not do it again for 7, 8, 9 days. I want this to be adding reading to your list. Let's put it this way. Adding reading to your list of things to do is not technically a to do. It is a to be. I see myself as a student, and reading is part of my being. And I don't feel right if I'm not reading. And it's even just 1 or 2 pages a day. I have one thing that I wanted to close with, actually. Thank you for reminding me. It's Brianna Wiest. Her book, Ceremony. Page 65. Know the depth of your power and use it with lightness, and give to it kindness, and make of it love. 4 lines. This chick finds a way to cover everything in 4 tiny lines. Know the depth of your power. Use it with lightness. Give to it kindness. Make of it love. Shit. She's so good. I respect this woman so much. More to come in January. I have so much more for you. Right? There's a pile right here of what's going to happen in January on our live gathering soon. Yes, I will put that piece in the chat. Here I go. That's line 1. Line 2. I get it exactly right. Line 3. Boom. Catherine Stowe, sister. What a treat to see your name. God, good to see you. Happy New Year, honey. Happy, happy New Year. Amazing. Yes, and I want you all to feel empowered. Last thing I promise. This is not, I don't come up with all of this. as Liana just said, I am a curator. We are surrounded by deep thinkers, people who are seeking, who are listening really, really well. All I do is listen well to the luminaries. I put all of this together for us so that we can have a better day, period. That's all I do. I love my job. Inward and upward. Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. That means a lot. Birthday sister. Okay. Alicia, thank you. Caitlin, thank you so much. I hope you feel my love. Michelle Martello, I hope you feel my love and admiration. Each of you for so many different reasons. I hope you feel my love and my thanks for your presence in my life. Thank you. And thank you for being there when all of that happened, because you just made me a better mom by being here. I don't know what I would have said if I wasn't here, if you weren't here. So thank you for that too. Tomorrow morning, the timing is, I'm totally forgetting right now. Tomorrow morning, I'm teaching for the Free Food Kitchen. I need you to know something. 150 South African Rand is $10. I want to ask if anyone is coming to the class tomorrow. I'm going to teach you a beautiful hour-long class. If anyone can make it at all, please at least donate $5, which is about 75 South African Rand. Ideally, everyone will donate about $10, which is 150 South African Rand. And that money goes directly to them. I don't see a cent. I'm just here teaching to raise money for those children. They do not have any food. They get fed twice a week by these kitchens that we are supporting. If you can come to class tomorrow, even if you can't come to class and you want to donate, I will send you the recording. Come. Okay. The exchange rate is on the website on my calendar. Oh, there you have it right there. Michelle reading my mind. Thank you for all of your thoughts, everything. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, I hope. Thank you. Any questions, don't hesitate to email me. Don't forget, I'm here. Happy New Year.